Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football as and when it happens. Now before we get into this week's recap, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. And let's get to 500 subscribers by the end of this year. Right, so let's have a look back at the games from this past weekend in what was another entertaining weekend here in England in the WSL and some good games across Europe. So obviously on Friday we spoke about our game preview being Manchester United and Chelsea taking on each other at Leigh Sports Village, and it was a game that definitely didn't disappoint from a neutral's perspective. Heading into this game, obviously Manchester United were yet to lose, and obviously Chelsea only had lost that one game at the opening game of the season against Liverpool, and both teams, obviously two of the three informed teams of the season, going into each other, looked really good for that first half. Both teams creating opportunities but not too many chances to test either keeper Mary Earps or Ann-Katrin Berger. There was occasional one or two chances that both keepers had to deal with, but they dealt with it really well. And then second half, it just seemed that Chelsea's side just grew more confidence and was willing to attack Manchester United, especially down the side where Lauren James was attacking, and against Maria Thorstadottir on the left hand side. It was obviously Thorstadottir doesn't usually play at left back for Mark Skinner's side, and that's what made it really hard for United as the game wore on, because Lauren James, her pace, her strength was just causing all sorts of problems for Thorstadottir, and it just wasn't an easy good game or a good game really for Thorstadottir. And then you look at the goals for Chelsea, Sam Kerr scoring, and then obviously Lauren James scoring a couple minutes afterwards. It's just coming from simple mistakes from the back. United, first goal, they tried to play it out from the back, but obviously they're currently down to 10 players at the time as Hannah Blundell was receiving treatment. It's just a mistake that's easily avoidable. Again, another mistake for the second goal. It's just silly mistakes that Millie Turner, Maria Thorstadottir and even Katie Zelem was making in that game as the second half wore on. And you've just got to be thinking, if you want to be a title challenging side, not even a title winning side, but a title challenging side or a European challenging side at this minute, you can't be making these silly mistakes, because you're going to get punished by the big sides that you come up against, and obviously that is happening for Manchester United. Now obviously we're into this international break and Man United are losing some of their players to it, or if I'm Mark Skinner, I'm getting the players that I'm not in this international period and just working on just making sure that you have the confidence, if you are to play it out from the back, that everyone knows that you're going to play it out from the back and get these things sorted. Because coming up after the international break for his side, they face Arsenal, who are obviously having a fantastic season themselves so far in the WSL. Alessia Russo did obviously pull one back for Manchester United, and that gave them that bit of confidence. I think maybe we could get a draw, but then I just think tactically his substitutions, they weren't really that overwhelming, and I didn't think it was he'd put himself in a position, Mark Skinner this is, to make Manchester United possibly get a draw or even come back and snatch a win. So I think tactically he got his substitutions wrong. Obviously still missing Anna Badje, although he did say she could have been in contention, but it came just a game too early for her. And then Lucia Garcia had picked up a knock in training as well over a few days before the game, so it wasn't really worth her risk. And it was just one of them where I think if he didn't have them players out, I think we could have probably seen a much different Manchester United performance. And I'm very surprised, coming from a neutral standpoint, that Vilde Boris is just not getting the look in. And I think maybe after this international break, I'd like to see her in that holding position and see what she'll be able to do against a very attacking Arsenal side, the likes of Frida Marnham and Jordan Nobbs playing in that role, so that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, the win for Chelsea takes them above Manchester United into second, now won 6 of their 7 games this season on 18 points and look really strong going forward. So let's have a look at the rest of the games across the WSL now, and it was another 4-0 win for Arsenal this past weekend as they travelled to Leicester City. Again, very easy win for the Gunners. All day long you thought they were going to win this Leicester had one or two chances to really test Manuela Zinsberger, but it wasn't too much coming. So Frida Arnhem, Caitlin Ford, Steph Catley and Stina Blackstenius scoring the goals for Arsenal 4-0 inside the hour mark. Easy victory for United outside, and Frida Arnhem, what a player she's turning out to be this season, and she really is looking like one of the most undroppable players in the league right now, because she is on such good form. And obviously Miedema's rest wasn't actually missed too much. Liverpool lost to Aston Villa 1-0, Rachel Daly scoring the penalty just before the hour mark. Again, what a signing Rachel Daly is proving to be for Carla Ward's side, and it was a much needed win for Aston Villa after their run of 3 defeats in a row. However, pressure is climbing on Matt Beard's side now to try and pick up some wins after this international break. Manchester City continued their great form, beating Reading 3-0. Emma McCandy with 2 own goals in the space of 7 minutes, and then Khadija Bunny-Shaw also scoring. Again, a player on absolute form at this minute and looking really worth the buck that Manchester City spent on her. Then Brighton were involved in a 9-goal thriller, this time winning 5-4. Absolute crazy scenes that was, because it looked like they had the game well and truly wrapped up, but then Vivian Asayi scoring 2 late goals in the last 5 minutes of regulation time caused all sorts of pandemonium. Vitik Risari scoring her first goal for the club as well, and Daniela Carter scoring a brace as well. So it definitely was the game of the weekend in terms of if you wanted high goals and high action between those two sides, and it was very interesting to watch. And then Tottenham Everton was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch, and we don't know when that game will be rescheduled, but it will more than likely be in the new year. Right, so let's head over to Europe now and look at all the action there. And obviously we spoke about it being El Clasico this past weekend, and it was easy 4-0 win for Barcelona with Ana Maria Senegorcevic, Patrick Guayaro, an own goal from Galvez and Fridolina Rolfo scoring the goals, as Barcelona made it 8 wins out of 8 in Liga F this season. Elsewhere, Sevilla beat Levante 5-0, and Atletico Madrid managed to pick up a 1-0 home win. Over in Germany this past weekend as well, and it was a good win for Wolfsburg, beating Duisburg by 4-0. Eva Puyol scoring a brace in that one, and Bayern Munich managed to beat Freiburg 3-0 with Leah Schuler, Gladys Viggersdottir and Sarah Zadrazil scoring the goals. Over in France, and it was a surprising weekend because none of the top sides managed to pick up victories this past weekend. Lyon drawing 0-0 to bottom side Guingamp, Paris Saint-Germain drawing to Montpellier, and Paris FC and Bordeaux drawing as well. So some surprise results this past weekend over in France. And finally, over in the Netherlands, we spoke about it being the Classica between Ajax and Feyenoord, and Ajax won the game 4-0 with Tini Hoekstra continue her great form at the minute, scoring a brace, and then Romy Lerchter also amongst the goals as usual for Ajax. Elsewhere, FC Twente beat Telstar 4-0, Fortuna Sittard beat Excelsior 5-0, Zwolle beat Heerenveen 2-1, and PSV beat VV Alkmaar by 2-0. So like I said, we are now on to this international break, and we'll be back with obviously any breaking news during the week later on this week, and we'll have the recap will be back as usual once the international break is done. But until then, make sure you like, comment, subscribe and turn on post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. And until next time, we'll see you soon.